So I'm sure you guys have probably seen this by now. This came out a little while ago, and I forgot to mention on it. Where woke goes to die with an alligator. Why is that controversial? Well, now we know DeSantis, the anti-woke, right? Pretty much anything that's not white. Trashes woke ideology, but yet says nothing about the actual Yahtzees that are growing more and more numbers down in Florida that are showing up all over the place protesting, especially in front of Disney World. It's very much against CRT, the way we teach black history, wants history taught a certain way, so forth. It's clear who this guy panders to, right? Okay, that being said, the reason why that vest is extremely offensive, if you know your history, they used to use black babies, and they referred to them as pickaninnies, as alligator bait. But you can Google that article. It has all the links to original newspapers and stuff. Like, for example, in 1923, Time magazine reported that colored babies were being used for alligator bait in Chipley, Florida. There was an article with the Miami New Times that showed that alligator hunters would sit crying black babies who were too young to walk at the water's edge with a rope around their necks and waists, and the babies would splash and cry until a crocodile came up and snapped one. In October 1919, Richmond Times Dispatch printed what appears to have been a joke titled "Game Protection." It read, "We understand the Florida authorities are going to prohibit the use of live pickaninnies as alligator bait." It wasn't just in Florida they were doing this kind of stuff. It was happening around the United States. For example, a Minnesota paper, 1922, the New Ulm Review, was talking about a preview of attractions at the Brown County Fair. In the section about fireworks, the article boasted that there will also be a big colored alligator pursuing a fleeing pickaninny and many other beautiful designs. Nice. 1902, the St. Louis Republic described all the floats in the city's Veiled Prophet Parade, a secret society founded by a former Confederate soldier. The Veiled Prophet organization held a parade to tell the history of the Louisiana Purchase. Float number 15 was called the Plantation Life in Louisiana, displayed a monstrous alligator swallowing a fat pickaninny. And they didn't just use them as alligator bait, they also fed them to the hogs at a Arthur G. Dozier Reform School down on the Florida Panhandle, and that happened as late as the 1950s. That particular facility was closed in 2011 because over the years there was a lack of supervision that enabled beatings, rapes, torture. You ever see that movie Sleepers? Yeah, except way worse. But don't worry, they said, "We're sorry." Fascism always placates to the past. It's always an old tradition. Make America great again. The good old days. They use messaging, symbols. Anyone who knows history and understands what they're looking at, what they're saying, the language they use, and the framework they use it in is very easy to identify. If you don't know any of that stuff, seeing Mrs. DeSantis just wear that vest, you would think there's nothing wrong with that. But knowing who their primary base is, who they placate to, and what their policies are and how they speak, it's quite clear what they're trying to say. Anyway, good talk.